just because you can doesn't mean you should. For all that I've latched onto this saying from a moral perspective, completely removed from its roots in business, it is telling that it's at the front of my mind as I've played through the early access build of Hollywood Animal. General content warning for the following being mentioned and brought up, no triggering images, just words. So, wait, this is a game about making movies, isn't it? What the hell are all these trigger warnings doing here? Oh, well, fair. Anyway, this is a game about making movies. You are a fledgling studio executive freshly in possession of a bankrupt studio, and it's your job to make something of it as the Great Depression chokes the United States. The gameplay is high-level bird's-eye view management. You do the planning and signing off on the productions, hire and fire staff, negotiate contracts, occasionally dabble into story planning aspects, big picture stuff. It's less roller coaster tycoon and more hire this landscaper to worry about the aesthetics so you can worry about release calendars. At its core, you're slotting staff, resources, and options into place so that they can, hopefully, make the best, or most appealing, or most artistic movie possible. And then, it's hands off. You'll usually only be called in when the kids can't behave. Someone pulls a cruel prank, mid-shoot adjustments need to be made, a director wants to shoot a horse dead for realism, that sort of thing. Your job is to make sure the studio keeps chugging along and doesn't go bankrupt. It's hard in the beginning because most of your crew are low-level scrubs and your available resources are bare bones. By design, your first bunch of films are going to be trash. But practice literally makes perfect. Even working on a trash movie is experience, and eventually your team gets better, some with higher potential than others. Additionally, you'll get access to more and more tools with time. The research process is financially free, it just requires time. That time can be sped up, though, with an influx of cash, allocation of influence points, or a general boost from the department head. Now, what sets it apart from other management sims? First are your friends. Folks you can keep in your back pocket once you do a quick cinematic favor for them. Your friends grant you various abilities, but that friendship is a limited well. Use them too much, and they'll cut your friendship off. You can do various favors on their behalf to replenish that goodwill, but more on that later. Secondly, you're in active competition with 5 other movie studios in the area. Everyone's working on the same release calendar, trying to appeal to the same audience, hiring from the same pool of workers, all competing for the same Oscars-style awards. To draw the lines to Roller Coaster Tycoon again, you're not just worried about your park in the middle of the shadowy void. The world spins on with or without you, and indolence spells your doom. Lastly, there's the long-term narrative bleeding into the mechanics as the game mirrors history from the Great Depression onward. Concerns of outside censorship gives way to a united front for the studios and their implementation of the Hays-esque code, banning certain story elements from reaching theaters. Adolf Hitler's targeted violence overseas leads to an influx of Jewish European immigrants and workers. America entering World War II sees some of your staff pack up and enlist. And somewhere in future updates, McCarthyism and fears of Russian communism will take a crack at the establishment. But luckily, we have tools at our disposal to make the most of our situation. Those tools make up the true meat of what sets Hollywood Animal apart. It's all in the actions and options that you have available to you. To set the stage, there is a moment early on where your studio releases a semi-successful film, and one of your rivals is none too happy about your upstart studio getting a win. Word is that he's planning on sending a goon squad to beat up the lead actor, and that word is good. If the actor's got a security detail, they'll be shaken, but fine. If they don't, they'll get their legs broken. Regardless, somebody made a move against you, and you've got to tip the scales, show them who's boss. You can outsource the dirty business to your friendly bootlegger crew, or you can keep it in-house with your own operations center. What would be a just response to this slight? Threatening crew at the other studio? Sending a goon squad in kind for an old-fashioned beating? Kidnapping a star actor? Outright killing a director? You've got options. Maybe you see that another studio has a good thing going with a popular actor. Be a shame if you dug up some dirt on them, convinced them to work for you, even if it takes a little convincing to get them to see things your way. Hopefully they don't die in the process. Being friends with the mayor, the district attorney, the mafia, the police, bootleggers all have their perks. Resources in a pinch to make a better movie, yes, but also behind-the-scenes abilities. Legal representation, protection services, hit squads, blackmail research, it's all there, ripe for the taking. But it's a give-and-take relationship. If you take too much, your friends will desert you. You just have to do a few odd favors for them, replenish that goodwill. Advertise their accomplishments, send an actor to talk up their casino, set up a sting operation to arrest and deport migrant workers. You know, good business. The German consulate rolls in from overseas around 1934. German cinema's been the talk of the town lately, what with their more advanced technology and resources. Have you heard about that chancellor fellow over there, though? No news is good news, and better equipment makes for better movies. The Ku Klux Klan is also here, and they are just as clanny as ever. But they're a guaranteed audience, even if they sound like, just absolute lunatics across the board. Ticket prices don't discriminate, after all, and that's all you're seeing in the end. But remember, every action has a reaction. Are a few extra sold tickets really worth allying yourself with the Klan? The Klan? You'll have to ask someone else if those mechanical benefits outweigh burning that bridge, because after I was done laughing at their clown of an ambassador, I sent them packing. And thanks to a functional education I received, along with the myriad World War II era shooters of my youth, I know what the Third Reich enables in Germany and beyond. Sure, the historically based hindsight may detract from more authentic moment-to-moment decision-making, but whatever. I'm all too happy to send the German consulate and her Iron Cross packing on the basis of principle. You can keep your toys, we'll just keep researching on our own. And often, I keep my friends in my back pocket as an absolute ripcord when I don't see other functional options. A limited well to draw from. I personally saw to one explicitly propaganda film on behalf of the police, and I've been riding that well of goodwill from the fuzz ever since. They're not really friends, they're resources, just like you are to them. Ride the margin, keep them more indebted to you than you are to them, and recognize when they're asking you to cross a bridge too far. And I could kidnap and threaten and torture this actor for my competitor, but is that really going to make a better film? Are they really going to be at their best when they're thinking about their own safety, their family's safety? Science tells me that torture doesn't really result in the truth, just in what a torturer wants. And what is cinema but the pursuit of truth committed to film? And what's to stop my rivals from bringing the hammer down on me after getting revenge on them, and then me responding in kind, and them retaliating, and me striking back and forth until neither of us can remember why we even started? When does it stop? Think about it, but we'll come back to that. For now, consider how to do the right thing. The staff makes up the entire operation. You need producers, cinematographers, directors, actors, editors, composers, all pulling their weight to make a movie the best it can be. And a lot of these people are imperfect in their own way. Perfectionism, arrogance, laziness, and conceitedness grip many throughout the machine of Hollywood, stalling production to a halt. Alcoholism, gambling, and drug addiction ripple through the workplace, threatening to snowball into scandal and public ruin. Misogyny, xenophobia, and racism are commonly held beliefs, preventing people from working alongside others on principles of hatred alone. But there are also people who are diligent, modest, hard workers, unbiased, natural leaders, even just devoid of features, completely neutral, blank slates. Now, what route do you think I went in? At first, I thought, I'm not going to reward this kind of behavior from people. I'm going to seek out people who want to do good work, who are capable of growth, who don't have the baggage of discrimination weighing them down, even if they aren't top talent. But then I realized I've still held on to a lot of the original staff at the studio, many peppered with some of these less savory elements. And I tried to envision it a little differently, carrying my real-life perspectives into the game. Addiction doesn't mark a person as bad, they're someone that needs support, someone that needs to be given a life situation in which they don't feel the need to cope. If I can't send my team to rehab, then I do what I can to take care of them on the studio lot. People whose identities are based in discrimination can have that curbed by giving them a solid foundation, a living wage, a solid support network, the sorts of things that will help them realize that quote-unquote other people aren't the problem here. I couldn't change my team's tags, so I emphasized what I could control. The team I had available to me, my ability to build them up, and laying a solid foundation for future operations. The goal was to make them a league of their own. You're not going to be able to afford top-tier talent out of the gate. You're better off cultivating the crew that you have, filling the gaps when necessary. Remember earlier I mentioned practice makes perfect? You can't expect someone to be an expert when they start out, and anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you or recruiting for a job here in the real world. With every position, every production, no matter how much it rakes in at the box office, your team is working. They're getting better. You give your team the chance to do their best work and improve, their best is going to get even better. Slowly and steadily, you'll gain more resources. Your team gets more under their belt, and you can start leaning on an established team for surefire hits and give the next generation time and room to hone their own craft. It's not a switch, it's a dial, and you can only spin it so quickly. Don't rush it. Once I had a feel for the general operations, I tried running the studio as close to my ideal workplace as I could. 8-hour workdays, 5-day work weeks, vacations approved before I'd even finished reading their rationale. I ran the place as an investment in my people. If I take care of them in the most basic, fundamental ways, then they'll be able and willing to do good for me in kind. I do what I can to make you happy at work, and you do what you can to help me perpetuate that cycle. Make good movies so the studio makes money, so I can always make sure everyone on my crew has the best damn health insurance in the valley. And wouldn't you know it? Once I started embracing that approach, people were excited to renew their contracts. On-set issues, extreme behavior, and scandals almost entirely disappeared. Vacation requests became fewer. It took time to get there, but now we're there. And we're making some damn good movies. And that brings us all the way back with some minor adjustment. Just because you can doesn't mean you need to. Recall that goon squad that tried to beat up on my actor early on. I had every reason and opportunity to launch a counterattack, take revenge, get back at that slimeball Gerstein. But I didn't. I acknowledged that my competitor made a stupid decision, maybe tried to rile me and my new studio up. I didn't take the bait. My security protected the actor, and the attempted assault was never brought up again. I made no moves for retribution, save redoubling my efforts to make sure I had a reasonably staffed security operation. No one's taken any potshots at me since. I'm about 8 years into my in-game calendar, with the expectation being that, by this point, players have unlocked all the baseline buildings and resources for their studio. But I still haven't built an operations center. Mechanically, that decision renders me incapable of carrying out threats, beatings, kidnappings, or murder on behalf of my studio. Instead, I stick to my own, I grow my circle, I give them the tools and the experience they need to be better and to make better movies. I pluck people who are willing to do good work out of a pile that I believe I can help, who need a solid foundation or an actual demonstration that their hateful biases are misplaced. I don't need to threaten anyone. When someone feels safe, secure, taken care of, and content, maybe they're less likely to point a finger and blame over larger social problems. Even if I'm still a filthy capitalist at the end of it all, Hollywood Animal remains a nice change of pace. It can be about domination, but it can also be about coexistence. It can be about retribution and shady dealings, but it can also be about moving on and investing in a team. For all its marketing about, emphasis on, and ability to be ruthless, cutthroat, and absolutely brutal, to revisit the original saying, just because you can play a certain way doesn't mean you need to. That is why Hollywood Animal is Archivist approved.